the generation who will inherit this country, now led by the Vice President, Benjamin, need to understand that we cannot inherit a divided country. It will take us another 50 years to fix it. The best thing is to force our elders to come together, unite the country, and transition us into peace. And then they leave us a united country that is peaceful. That's the only way we can quickly now use our energy to build the basis for state and nation building that will give us prosperity. But if we allow them to say, I don't like so-and-so, I don't like so-and-so, who is not a South Sudanese? What does that mean? And I don't want him. He's not going to work. So the agreement, yes, the government fell. The IO was threatening. There were too many two CNCs and whatever the strategies they want to do. They need to finish it quickly and come back, release Dr. Yek, and release all the trainees, get back to the table so that we can move forward with this transition. I don't say, give me democracy. I said, stop the war, stop using the young people as tools of destruction, and begin to use young people as tool of construction the country. Let us not use tribes as a tool to divide us. Let us use diversity as a tool to enrich our country and make our country stronger. This is where we should focus in. Those things become as a result of when we do these things. We have agreement, we have election, we have a legitimate government in place. That government will begin to respect the citizens will begin to respect the government. That social contract between the people and the government get renewed, and the faith is built in it, trust is built, so that even if you leave without your gun, you are 100% sure you can go to the market and come back without anything happening to you. And when citizens reach that stage, the guns will fall by themselves. These countries, 6 or 7 countries that America has chosen to close down the embassies, is out of the fact that these countries are not seen as economically viable. Do you understand? For them to invest in. This is why we need to go on the table and clearly have a deal with the Trump administration or the American system, and say, look, we are not what you think we are. Yeah. We can produce this, we can do this, we can do this. Can you come and join here and invest here and invest here? This is where the problem is. Those are the small things of the illegal immigrants being deported, ARC being sanctioned and is promoted, or the issues of wars. These are issues that can be fixed even within 1 or 2 months right now. So Bolmel has a chance. He can become the darling of the United States if he does the correct thing. Correct. If he brings now peace instead of warmongering, if he unites the people of South Sudan together and pushes the country towards democracy, he can be given a chance. Even some of these sanctions can be dropped.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to The Point, the home of scholars. I am your host, Admiral Carl Gordon. At the Scholars Hub, it's all about information, transformation, and definitely entertainment. On the couch tonight is the most in-demand guest from our audience online. Is none other than a sergeant who has never been promoted since 1990. We don't know why, but most of his comrades in arm call him Unadardit. So, Comrade Agel, welcome to the studio.
Thank you, Carl, and the viewers. I'm happy to join you.
You have really been in demand since we started the program. Finally, they get to have a piece of you today.
I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to join them.
Okay.
Yeah.
At the Scholars Hub, we have a tradition. Normally, a guest start by deciphering a proverb for us. And the proverb today is, the strength of a lion is inferior to the might of an elephant. You can decipher it socially, politically for us, and in relation to what is happening.
I think that proverb should be reversed. It should be the strength of an elephant. It's inferior to the might of the lion.
Don't change our proverb. Decipher it the way it is.
Well, if you compare the lion and the elephant, physically, if you look at them, some of us who have seen them both, the elephant is way much stronger physically than the lion.
All right.
But the lion had a stronger mentality and stronger attitude. And that's why sometimes the lion eats the elephant. Because as soon as the lion sees an elephant, the first thing that comes to its mind is that I find food. But for the elephant, on the other hand, with all this strength, when they see a lion, all they think about is death. Something is coming to hurt me. And so it doesn't matter what your strength are physically, your mentality and your attitude matters in your success in life. So you may be smaller in age, in size, in resources, but if you have the attitude, the winning attitude, the mentality of superior mentality,
correct,
then you can suppress, you can subdue bigger and stronger elephants.
So viewers, however you interpret the your own interpretation, you can just put it on the comment section, and there's no wrong answer and there's no right answer. It's how you interpret the proverb for you. So the liberty is yours to give us your own interpretation. So we are going to segment 2 just right away. The political climate right now in the country is somehow not predictable. It's volatile in a situation with what has been going on. But what do you think are the solutions that will solve the political problems in South Sudan?
Thank you very much. It's a straightforward situation. Yes, 2025 has come with a lot of escalations in political tensions and some steps backwards in peace implementation and a slide towards all-out conflict in the country.
Correct.
Started the incidents in Nasser and it's now spread to other part of South Sudan.
Correct.
The solution is simple, and that is recommitment to the implementation of the revitalized agreement on the resolution of the conflict in the Republic of South Sudan,
correct,
the RRCs. If the country is to de-escalate, reduce tension, it is simple. First, they need to make a deliberate decision to de-escalate and start with cessation of hostilities. They should stop all the attacks across the country for whatever reason, recommit themselves to the agreement,
yes,
start dialogue directly between the warring parties or between the parties to the revitalized RCs,
yes,
with the help of RJMEC and the region and the international community,
yeah,
and also reverse all the violations that may have been committed in the RCs to try and reconstruct the RCs the way it was so that it can help us transition to the elections in 2026. This is a straightforward way we can diffuse the situation in the country.
So do you think it's the solution you've stuck to the implementation of the revitalized peace agreement as your prime solution to it? Do you think it's the only solution that holds weight in matters politics in South Sudan?
There are other options, and in politics there are always plan B. But for me, as a person, I see the best available tool we have as a country and as a people is the revitalized RCs. We can let it go. It is the only thing that is keeping everybody together.
Yes.
From President Salva to all of us here on the
You've also talked of international community and so on. You can see some even embassies evacuating the staff, working staff, and even some recently, even some peacekeeping personnel have been withdrawn from South Sudan. Do you think is it because of?
Yeah. They are.
Is it tied?
It is of course tied to the tension and the escalation in violence. Some people believe that the agreement has been thrown out altogether. Some people believe the agreement has collapsed, and the agreement is the only legitimate, is the only document. It is the constitution of the country. It is the legitimacy from which the government is standing. It is a normal procedure. When there's a war in a country, you need to reduce your stuff and you need to protect your people and only leave the bare minimum stuff in that country.
So do you think this agreement has been thrown out the window?
Not yet, but it is there. It is there. There's the actions that we have seen as a citizen are actions that this agreement, they want to throw it. Wisdom dictates that they should hold the agreement together. And if there are things that have been violated, they need to be corrected so that we can rescue the agreement and rescue the country with it together.
Correct.
That's one of the tools, the revitalized RCs. Of course, there are other tools, which was, for example, the unification of the SPLM, the Arusha Agreement. Those were the two agreements that were reached since the conflict started in 2013. Because it was traced, the conflict was traced back to the differences within the party. And all these revolutionary sisterly parties, the NRM of Uganda, the Chama cha Mapinduzi of Tanzania, and ANC all came together and we agreed in Tanzania 2015, that we should unify the SPLM, because the SPLM is not just a political party; it's a revolutionary. It is the people of South Sudan that came together to form the SPLM to fight for freedom.
Of the SPLM,
Yeah,
especially the SPLM IG,
yeah. But the whole SPLM as a whole is what I'm trying to say.
the faction.
No, before the faction, the SPLM is South Sudan. It is different from a group of people that form a party. Let's say here in Kenya, they're like-minded. They can go and form a political party. That's called a political party. The SPLM, that's not how it was formed. People who were angry and wanted freedom converged in Ethiopia, and everybody went there. So the SPLM fought and then freed the country. So the SPLM moved into became the country. So when the SPLM is divided, the country is also automatically divided, and that is the essence of the Arusha Agreement. Is that if you want to unify the country, unify the party under democratic system. So that is another tool we can pursue in conjunction with the revitalized RCS.
There are some people who are arguing that there's lack of political space in the country. That is accommodation of other political parties in the country. Don't you think it's also a solution when it's being opened? Because right now you are focusing on, okay, let's say SPLM as a whole. Do you think you'll accommodate all those?
But the problem is the political space is relative from one country to one country and from one situation to another situation. The fact of the matter is that since almost 2 years after independence, the country went to war. And any government that is managing war restricts political space. That is a natural. Even if there was a war here in Kenya, they will restrict this situation.
Yeah.
So, and that's why I do not worry too much about the space yet. Let us first implement the two agreement. Let's unify the party if we can.
Yes.
You know, if Comrade Salfa, Dr. Machar, and Pagana Mom want to sit together again, if they can manage, that would be the best situation. So they can now move into election as one party, and then from there, the space will continue to expand as the country begins to stabilize and begins to accept democracy and begin to internalize the process of democracy. So this issue, the freedom, the space that we have here in Kenya, they did not get it at independence in 1963. They had to take steps. Right now, the step that we need is not the political space. The step that we need is the unification of the party and recommitment to revitalize RCS and whatever the RCS says. Yes. Okay, those chapters, whatever they say, is what we need to do right now, so that we can go into election. And no election is bad election. Okay, even if it is a bad election, we start with that is still a good election. It cannot be 100% from the first time. You understand? Even when we started here in Kenya with the Moi in 1992, 1992 was a little bit, there was more than 1997, then 2002, eventually they arrived. So the people of South Sudan also, we have to be patient with the process. I'm not advocating for the all-out democracy yet. That is not my point. My point here is cessation of hostilities. Let us not kill one another. Let us not tribalize these issues. Let us go to these two agreements and see what they say and realize that they are good for the country. Implement them over the next 2, 3 years, 4 years. And if we can implement them and we conduct one elections, if that's all they could do, these leaders that freed us, Comrade Salfa, Dr. Machar, if that's all they could do, that's unite the party, they don't have to build anything. They don't have to build any roads. They don't have to do anything. Just unify the country for us, take us through the peace process, go into elections. Even if they want to win that election, let them win that election, so that we can cut this chapter of killing one another behind us and move forward.
Sergeant, for that to happen, don't you think first the government has to hold like the monopoly of violence and power?
That will come afterwards. Monopoly of violence. No government ever takes monopoly of violence 100%. You have to understand that. It is a stage that you take by, like for example, those who are armed now, the civilians who are armed. There's a reason why they're armed. So as a government, you shouldn't worry about the gun that somebody's holding. You have to ask yourself, why is he holding the gun? You work on the issues that are pushing a citizen to want to arm himself. If you take away those reasons, you will not want to arm yourself. Like when I leave from Juba to Nairobi, I don't feel the need to carry a gun. But if I am to move from Juba, for example, and say I'm going to Central African Republic, or I'm going through the southern Morobo area and I'm going to eastern, to northern Zaire, I'll be tempted to carry a gun. because situation there forces me to carry a gun. It is a self-preservation. It's a natural feeling of a human being to preserve themselves. But if you take away the reasons why they want to use violence, or why they want to use gun, or knife, or a spear, if you take away those reasons as government, you wouldn't have to worry. They will come and surrender them to you. In our society, we used to have our spears in our houses. Those are weapons. They are dangerous weapons, by the way. You have your bundles of 12 or 15 in your lock. Did we use them anyhow? We didn't have police. We didn't have national security. We didn't have tiger. We didn't have anything. But because the rule of law has been laid properly and has been followed faithfully, so the government itself is struggling to contain war situation. You can't expect them to do both. It is sometimes I don't. That's why in my writing, that's not my issue. I don't say give me democracy. I say stop the war, stop using the young people as tools of destruction, and begin to use young people as tool of construction of the country. Let us not use tribes as a tool to divide us. Let us use diversity as a tool to enrich our country and make our country stronger. This is where we should focus in. Those things become as a result of when we do these things. We have agreement, we have election, we have a legitimate government in place. That government will begin to respect the citizens will begin to respect the government. That social contract between the people and the government get renewed, and the faith is built in it, trust is built, so that even if you leave without your gun, you are 100% sure you can go to the market and come back without anything happening to you. And when citizens reach that stage, the guns will fall by themselves.
You've talked about young people being absorbed into the system and so on. On a personal level, or any other vocal youth out there, how hard is it to fit or being accepted into the current system despite having the competencies to do so?
The appointing authority, as an officer, you make use of your people based on the challenges facing you at that particular time. Do you understand? What do I say? If you are managing a situation like here now in Kenya, Gen Zs are getting up, the technology, the education level, the political consciousness is so high. So the government will also look for very intelligent people, the best of those, to help them manage the situation. That is not the stage where South Sudan is. South Sudan people are struggling. Whether you are an opposition leader or the president, you can see from how they are protected. It is always about self-preservation. They are at the stage of self-preservation. Am I going to be okay as a president? Is my legacy going to be okay? Is somebody going to do a coup? Am I going to sleep peacefully and wake up tomorrow morning? Can I take a bicycle as a president and just take a ride? Can I just jog on the street without 300 tigers moving with me? So that person is looking for somebody who's loyal to him, not somebody who's competent. Do you understand?
Okay.
It's natural. I'm looking for somebody, if I sleep soundly. I'm not looking for that person that can, like in Kenya, that can manage Gen Z, that can go on the computer and just solve the computer and check what is going on, bring you the statistics, this thing ahead of time, bring you policies that can help you raise the standards of your people, create jobs, and so forth. So sometimes there are certain people with certain characters that make it difficult for them to get in the system, because the system itself right now is at the stage of self-preservation.
Can you argue that it's the same reason that you don't have any assignment up to now?
I'm not.
And on a light note, why have you never been promoted from being a sergeant since 1990?
It's okay. I don't need it. I don't need the military ranks. It's not that I do not know what it takes to get an assignment. It's just that I'm not ready to do what the situation requires to easily get an assignment. I'd rather stick with saying what is the truth at that particular time.
Correct.
As you see now, in this tension currently that's going on in the country, we have taken a path that is neutral, and you cannot be neutral where this conflict is becoming tribal.
Are you neutral?
I see myself as neutral.
Sergeant, are you really neutral?
That's how I see myself. I say the truth. Sometimes what I say may not appease the opposition. Sometimes may not appease those in government. But that is seen by the people of government as betrayal, because I am supposed to be in government, dominated by the Dinka and by Barkazal, and being also from Warab. I am supposed to be fully on this side. But I feel like I have to say the truth, and for the benefit of the entire country, including us.
The president has also has made reshuffles, and he has brought a very young or a youthful vice president in the name of Dr. Benjamin Bolmel. So what do you think of Bolmel as the heir apparent to the presidency?
I was the first person to congratulate him. You can go on my social media.
Okay.
Yes, I congratulate him because I fall under the same constituency with him on many grounds. We are both young people. We both have liberation backgrounds. We are both Jeshamar. We're both from Barkazal. We're both Dinka. We're friends before he went into politics. So there were many things that brings us together. And I was the first to go to his house the same night. Within half an hour, I was already in his house, and we celebrated and we congratulated him. And I was there for about 2 weeks until he got sworn in and he went on with his job. I have no ill intention if the president brings up somebody from young. This is what we have been advocating for. We have been advocating for Jeshamar, me and those of Deng Bolarway and the rest. We have been. So we feel like the president has finally heard from us. Then, of course, as he began to do his work, we began to disagree on some of the things that some of the policy direction that he has taken.
So where did the rain started beating this relationship?
As soon as I started working immediately. Because as soon as you're appointed, we have goodwill. There's no problem with that. But as soon as you begin to do work, we have to judge you based on the content of your policies. I have no issues with him being appointed. But of course, even though he's my own brother, if his policies are misguided, okay, I have a responsibility as an opinion leader to air out my views. Do you understand? The same way, if Comrade Selfa did something wrong, I also air out my views. And I've done that over the last 10, 15 years.
On a personal level, do you think he can deliver being vice president if he is to focus on the economic cluster and sector?
The vice president is somebody I know very well.
Yeah.
At the onset, we cannot deny that he's new to this politics. He's new. He got appointed over the last few years. If you can compare him with those he's rolling around with, those are Comrade Selfa, that have been in Anyanya 1, and then the 10 years of the Addis Ababa agreement between 72 and 83, and then they established the movement for 21 years, and he has been in power for 20 years. We are talking about nearly 50 years of public service, plus 3 or 4 years of public service. So if you compare the experience of the vice president and the experience of Comrade Selfa, or Dr. Machar, or General Taban Dengai, and the rest, or Dr. Waniga, of course there's a vacuum. But he also has other advantages. He has the energy because he's young, and he's also a quick learner. He can learn quickly. He has an opportunity. If he wants to do better, he knows his constituencies, his multiple constituencies. Other than South Sudan as a whole, he has special constituencies associated with him. For example, where he comes from, the northern Barkazal, that is a major constituency to him. The young people that have been engaged in politics for a very long time, those are his constituency. The Red Army, that is his constituency. You understand? Barkazal, that is his constituency. So if he can organize and tap into the energy from all these constituencies, a leader is not by themselves. Comrade Selfa is leading with his colleagues. Juan Garang led with his colleagues together.
Recently, you could see the NRA. They announced like a rise in revenue collection and so on. That falls under his economic cluster. So,
excuse me, NRA. When NRA says taxes, when NRA says that we have raised more money, do you know what that means?
What does it mean?
It means that we have raised taxes on the citizens. Is raising taxes a good policy in a country that is on its knees? For example, I will tell you. Yes. I will ask you if the tax was raised, where was the money taken from? But I can tell you one example: they have raised the taxes on the petrol coming into the country. Just 2 weeks ago. Okay. The markers at the port, they have raised them. Now these businessmen, just like tariffs, these businessmen will transfer those taxes to the citizen, to the consumer, and they have been struggling with the economic hardship, with poverty. You are making life difficult for them, and that's why prices, hyperinflation, has gone crazy in the country. People cannot even afford to. And remember, those salaries, you have not adjusted them with inflation. So, for example, the amount of money you give a soldier in 2005, which was, let's say, equivalent to $100. Now that, but then $100 was, let's say, 300 pounds. So if you give a soldier 300 pounds by then, it is equivalent of $100. $100 right now is £500,000 pounds. Now the soldier that you give 300 to in 2005, right now, 20 years later, you better give them £500,000 pounds. So that they can remain at the same living standards. So remember, so that their buying capacity, their buying power remains in place. So that they can be able to buy things and they can live for 1 month. Salary is not an achievement. Raising taxes is not an achievement. All I want him to do is stop the war. Yes. We know how to be productive citizens. We know how to increase the tax base so that they can even tax us more. When they keep us running, they have nothing to tax. When they let us stay in peace, okay, and we cultivate, we sell our produce, they can tax us. The produce will go and feed the hotels and makamat and all this. Now you have more things to tax. Yes. So all I'm asking for them and all the noise that I've been making is quit warmongering, quit violation of the agreement, reverse all the violations, release all political detainees, stop the attacks on the cantonment sites, and let us get back to the peace. Let us go to the agreement. We are all South Sudanese. Monjang, Kunuer, Kudor, and the rest, all of us are South Sudanese. Let us treat each other equally. Let us respect one another. Let us love one another. Let us encourage one another. That's the only way we can benefit from each other instead of destroying one ourselves. This is where I want him to concentrate. I don't want to concentrate on these economic miracles. You cannot make economic miracle in a war situation. How can you fix an economy when people are displaced? People are in IDP camps. People are in refugee camps.
You've talked about
the oil industry is in a mess. Okay,
Sergeant, you've talked about stopping the war and getting back to peace. Currently, it seems like the path is not leading there. With the political incarceration of Dr. Machar and these political induced fights in the greater Upper Nile region, as you've mentioned before. So, what's your thoughts on that?
Look, whatever the government is doing is fine. Let them assert their authority. What happened in Nasser is condemnable, and not only did it lead to a lot of death, including a senior general, but also it was a blow to the government and to the army. So as an army, as a national army, they had to settle some scores. So they made sure that they detained the opposition leaders, and they went. So the last few days, they went to Wulang and they went to Nasser, and there are some few places they feel they are threatening. And as soon as they set authority at the national army, they need to come back to Juba, logically, release Dr. Riek Machar, release all the other ministers, and Comrade Salva and Dr. Riek Machar need to sit on the table and discuss about what has gone wrong and what they can do to correct the mistakes and reverse the violations. And two of them need to lead us through the transition until the elections, whenever that will be. For me, I'm not going to rush them into election 2025, 2026, 2027. But the two of them and other leaders who are outside with Tumaini, with those of Thomas Shirillo, they need to come back and they need to lead us. We the people who will inherit this country, okay? The generation who will inherit this country, now led by the Vice President, Benjamin, need to understand that we cannot inherit a divided country. It will take us another 50 years to fix it. The best thing is to force our elders to come together, unite the country, and transition us into peace. And then they leave us a united country that is peaceful. That's the only way we can quickly now use our energy to build the basis for state and nation building that will give us prosperity. But if we allow them to say, I don't like so and so, I don't like so and so, who is not a South Sudanese? What does that mean? And I don't want him. He's not going to work. You know. So the agreement, yes, the government fell. The IO was threatening. There were too many CNCs and whatever the strategies they want to do. They need to finish it quickly and come back, release the Toriak, and release all the detainees, get back to the table so that we can move forward with this transition. This is the only way I'm asking of Vice President Bolmel and the rest. And if he does that, we have no queries. Now, these issues of this economic and agricultural revolution and so forth and so forth, these things, the prerequisite is peace and stability. Period. You cannot have an agricultural revolution in a country of war. What are you going to do? Put an AK-47 on your back and a hoe on this end, or what are you going to do? So the guns have to go silent first across the country. Correct. And then give yourself time. Even agricultural revolution needs even manpower. It needs education first to be prioritized. It needs healthcare to be prioritized, so that we don't have this child mortality rate at very high rate, so that we can have a baby boom, a large population that is well taken care of, that can live to 60.
Correct.
And can also be educated and can produce at a higher quality, so that we can tax them better and move the country forward. So we cannot jump the gun. We cannot go to that. Let us start with peace, and from peace and unity, we can then set the basis for building the country. All these economic and diplomatic miracles, these are just gimmicks. They're not taking us anywhere.
You talk about diplomatic relations and gimmicks, but currently, like, we can see our diplomatic ties with the U.S. government is really watery. Yes. And so, what do you think we should do to maintain, strengthen, and deepen our relations with the Trump administration? Because you can see the tension is on the rise, the bilateral ties.
Look, let's not put it to Trump. America is an institution, and whether there's Trump or Mr. X or Mr. W, his goal is going to be the same. First of all, the United States is a country that has done so much for the independence of South Sudan. They have done so much. They deserve respect from the people, country, and the government of South Sudan.
Yes.
There's no doubt about it. We are now lucky that we have a Trump who's a businessman. It is time for people to go on the table and speak in very clear terms about how we're going to have, what kind of relationship we'll have with America.
Correct.
The current deterioration are temporary. They are driven by one, the agreement, the fact that the agreement is collapsing. Okay, the wars, the introduction of the foreign troops, this indiscriminate bombardment of civilians, and so forth. That one is one of the issues. Number two is the issues to do with the governance and especially the financial procedures and corruption in the country. And that's why they feel like if there's somebody that they have sanctioned, like the vice president, they have sanctioned his companies, like the RC and the ABMC, for things that they think that are corrupt. And now that he's put in power and he's the one wielding power, therefore he will probably run the country the same way he ran the ARC. And America is preparing themselves to sanction the country. So some of these things are short term. But the most important thing, what is the policy direction between the South Sudan and America, regardless of who is the president in America? What is it? Let us sit down on the table. Clearly, we have a businessman now. And we strike a deal with the United States. They deserve a deal in this country because we have some of the resources, some of the rare minerals and that the West needs to advance its technology age, the AI age that is now taken over, and also what they call the green transition to green energy and so forth. And so all these things, we have them in the country. The country also is good because due to its geopolitical situation. It is strategic where it is situated in the center of Africa. So there are many things that we can put on the table and have a deal with America. People need to come out clearly and sit with the United States and clearly see what we can do as a people. About these small things, if you get back to the agreement fully, okay, the tension will go down with the United States. But the most important thing right now is making sure that the war is stopped. Okay, no civilians dying, no civilians displaced, and people are going on with the implementation of the peace agreement. They are doing economic sector reforms, the security sector reforms. Those reforms that are envisaged in the agreement are being implemented, and people are moving toward democracy. United States will not have any problem because United States really have serious affection for the people of South Sudan. They really, and they treat us like their young brother. So it is not a country that we should have any diplomatic issues with. Even this issue of immigrants, the illegal immigrants
who were deported. They responded to.
if for example, if I was to tell the United States and said, look, help us build a detention center in South Sudan. And if you have people from the region here that are in America and that are becoming a bigger problem to you, we can assist you by detaining them here. If you can help us diplomatically, internationally, using international law for this to happen, we can help United States ease some of this pressure.
Correct.
Not alone, not pull rope over one person and so forth, like what happened before. It was incompetence. It was lack of good thinking. But that should not be taken as the big issue that will destroy the relationship between America and South Sudan. The most important thing, these countries, 6 or 7 countries that America has chosen to close down the embassies, is out of the fact that these countries are not seen as economically viable. Do you understand? For them to invest in. This is why we need to go on the table and clearly have a deal with the Trump administration or the American system and say, look, we are not what you think we are. We can produce this, we can do this, we can do this. Can you come and join here and invest here and invest here? This is where the problem is. Those are the small things of the illegal immigrants being deported, ARC being sanctioned and is promoted, or the issues of wars. These are issues that can be fixed even within 1 or 2 months right now. So Bolmel has a chance. He can become the darling of the United States if he does the correct thing.
Correct.
If he brings now peace instead of warmongering, if he unites the people of South Sudan together and pushes the country towards democracy, he can be given a chance. Even some of these sanctions can be dropped.
As you're winding up, your friend Garang John has been wild lately on social media and so on. What are your thoughts on his issue?
You know, I don't work for the government. And Garang John was a loyalist of the government until his incarceration. Still, he was detained for 60 days at the Blue House for something small that should have been handled at the lower level. So he's aggrieved and he's angry with the system. And people decide to ignore him and let him go. But he's destructive. But if I was in the system, I would have reached out to him and I would have tried to address some of his grievances, admit where mistakes have been done, and urge him to cease and to get back into the system, and also ask the system to pardon some of the things that he have said or may have done. And he's an asset that can be used by the same system to get the country together, instead of the things that he's doing now out of anger and out of anger for the things that have been done against him, injustices that have been done against him. It can be addressed. But nobody in the system has asked me to talk to him, and I have no other than to wish him well wherever he is. I don't have authority to tell him, but it is within the grasp of the system to shut him down the same day, not violently, not trying to arrest him or trying to harm him or anything, but just to tell him, look, sorry, this thing happens. As we grow up, these things happen, and let us continue. You have a better future, and there is so much you can contribute to this country with your talent. Let us come here and show your talent here or there. So if anybody in the system asks me to solve this issue, I will solve it the same week. I'm 100% sure that he can listen to me because I've listened to him many times before, and I'm sure that if I tell him, but I cannot tell him as a person without the people who have aggrieved him being part of the process.
Being on the couch today is by a popular demand by some of our audience and your fans online. So what message do you have for them, and message do you have for the country and your chairman of your party?
The most important thing, I will repeat it again, is that we should not allow this country to be divided on tribes. We should not allow our ethnicity to be used as a weapon to either maintain power or to attain power. Political parties should be based on ideologies and what they believe in and their core principles and what they can do for the people of South Sudan, not the communities from which they come from. The young people should not accept to be divided on tribes like before. They should pull out of this. We should shun violence, and anything that escalates the violence, we should move away from it, because stability and tranquility in the country is a prerequisite to prosperity of any country. So my appeal to Comrade Selfa, as my chairman, is release Dr. Machar and start dialogue with him. Start to talk peace with him. Start reconcile with him. Because you don't make peace with people that you like. You don't make peace with friends. You make peace with people you don't like. That's the meaning of peace. You reconcile with people that have aggrieved you. It doesn't matter how much you feel the opposition has aggrieved you. It is time for you to dialogue with Machar, because whether we like it or not, he has a role to play to de-escalate the situation in the country. It is a fact of life. Let us not, you cannot sweep him under the carpet. So let us find forgiveness in our hearts. Let's release the detainees and let us dialogue so that we can get back and to rescuing the artists, revitalize artists. And on top of that, let us reach out and resuscitate the Tumaini, so that our brothers who are outside are also brought in, so that we can together join hands and transition the country into peace. And to the young people who are watching, is we cannot be used to destroy our country. Let us be used to fix our country. Let us use our energy to fix our country. So it is time for us to hold it together. Let us calm things down, so that we can now focus on whether, for example, the agriculture that you're talking about, that policy needs quietness and stability, whether it is a foreign policy with the United States, or the West, with China, or whichever country, Russia. It needs us to be quiet, and we need us to think with clear minds about where we want to take the country forward to. So that's all I can say. Thank you very much for your time.
You've all heard from him, the horse's mouth. Sergeant himself, although he has never been promoted since 1990, is a story which is very interesting that he should tell us someday.
Anything is possible in South Sudan. You, Comrade Salva can just wake up in the morning and say, "Today you bring up one of these," and they just make me anything. You never know. You never know. And
also to some who call him Traore, he has been on the coach, and you can see him spewing wisdom from this seat, and can't get better than this. Recommend your next guest, and surely will be on this couch as usual. So I've been your host, Admiral Carl Gordon, and stay tuned with The Point. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Sergeant.